Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Gaming with me, Tony Mo. We are back here in the Division with another high-end named weapon review. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Liberator, essentially the king, the queen, the master of the bullet hoses here in the Division. This is seriously one of the most ridiculous high rate of fire assault rifles you will get your hand on. It's also one of the most difficult to tame. I have spent the last week, I kid you not, a week, 7 actual days of using this in a combination of in-game situations as well as in the shooting range, trying to modify it to make it work beyond close-range engagements, trying to just tame that high rate of fire, 850 rounds per minute. It matches most of the LVOC rifles that you've probably picked up in the game at the superior rank. It is just hard to tame. There is an insane amount of horizontal stability issues, but I finally did it, and I finally felt comfortable bringing a review to you guys. Now, there are going to be comparisons made between the Liberator and the Caduceus in this video, but just take note, they are really two different sides of the coin. The Liberator is a high rate of fire, low damage assault rifle, while the Caduceus is a low rate of fire, high damage assault rifle. And once again, we're going to be taking a look at those DPS numbers, but you have to remember DPS is only as good as the user and the amount of rounds they can actually put on target. So let's hop on in to the firing range and of course kick things off with an analysis. Actually, I should just say my opinion on the visual appearance of the Liberator. I have to say, it's easily the most disappointing named high-end weapon in the game when it comes to its visual appearance. There is really not much unique about it. Yes, we have a unique barrel shroud. It has a free-floating barrel, which looks wicked awesome when the barrel heats up. But at the end of the day, I mean, this is the kind of thing that exists in the real world left and right. I mean, it's a modified M4 platform with a long free-floating barrel. It looks cool in that respect. I like the physical design and the overall appearance of the weapon, but its actual paint job is just white metal. Like, it's just white metal. It has a bit of a sheen to it. Nothing else has been done here. Probably one of the most disappointing things for me. I would have loved to see, I don't know, Liberator etched into the dust cover, like just anything to make this weapon stand out, to look like something more than just a white painted, you know, slightly unique M4 platform. You know, I know that none of the other weapons really have, you know, actually, no, I shouldn't say that at all. You know, the Caduceus is blue and gold. I love that. The Midas is freaking solid gold. The Cassidy shotgun has a bunch of crazy engraving on it, much like the Damascus. You know, like, there just could have been more done with this. If I ever made a chart of coolest to least coolest looking weapons in the high-end name spectrum in the Division, the Liberator would definitely fall towards the bottom. There's no doubt about that. I wish they would have done more with it, and if they ever look in the future at revamping named high-end weapons, this is the first one that should get a treatment. It should get some sort of etching on it, just, I don't know, like, you know, make it look like it's got some life, some personality, because it's just lacking that. It's just white. You lose it in the snow easily. That's about all the Liberator does, so enough mumbling and jumbling about that. Let's actually take a look at this weapon's talents as well as its base statistics. Now, as I said, guys, this was a very hard weapon to tame. The mods that I currently have equipped have been specifically equipped to make this thing work beyond medium range, to make it effective in all engagement distances. So I'm going to strip it right now. Let's knock it off there. You notice the DPS drops, the magazine size drops, the accuracy, all that stuff drops down. Let's actually take a look at its talents, though, before we dive into those numbers. So this is kind of the big thing about the Liberator, is its actual set of talents. So let's read them off quickly. We've got Competent. Weapon damage is increased by 13% for 10 seconds after using a skill. Dominant. Every kill performed while your signature skill is active reduces the cooldown of your other skills by 8%. And last but not least, Talented. Killing a target with this weapon increases skill power by 8% for 13 seconds. The effect does not stack, and killing a new target refreshes the timer. This is the talent that I can run because I run a low skill power build. The good thing about this is that at the end of the day, it increases my skill power, so that's nice. But you'll have to note that all of the other talents, Competent and Dominant, require both high firearms as well as high electronic stats. It is very much a weapon that is perfect for someone who is running a high DPS, high skill power agent build. That's just kind of how the cookie crumbles with a lot of the named weapons. Chances are, depending on your build, you're never going to be able to use all of the weapons and all of their talents. It's just the way they've designed the game. I've learned to accept that, and frankly, I'm really happy just having access to the talented talent. But once again, if you run a high DPS, high skill power build, this weapon is going to be even more effective for you. That's definitely something to take into consideration when you decide to maybe use the Liberator over the Caduceus or any other assault rifle in the game that you may acquire in the high-end spectrum. So let's take a look at its base stats though. Damage, 6,714. 850 rounds per minute. As I said, it matches the LVOC rifles that you probably have obtained in the Superior class, and a 30-round magazine. Accuracy and reload speed is pretty reasonable, but range and stability really start to fall short on the chart, and these are the components, especially stability, that I really had to work to increase to make this thing more effective. So let's fire this damn thing. I know you guys are probably just like, Tony, shoot it already. Let's see how ridiculous it is with no modifications. So as I've done before, guys, we're going to do a no recoil compensation burst fire test. And immediately, you can see the problem with the horizontal stability of the weapon. It is atrocious. It's probably worse than the Caduceus in a lot of ways. It just bounces wherever it pleases. It's just like, oh, I'm going to go to the right, and then I think I'm going to go to the left, then I'm going to go down again, maybe back around again. And at distance, of course, it just gets worse because your target is smaller. It's challenging. And if we go ahead and put on the full auto here, I'm going to do it a favor and do this at, medium range. Yeah, it's unpredictable. You can eventually get it to fall into that sweet spot I talked about in my Caduceus review, but it's not easy, man. It is a beast that needs to be tamed. It's like a fire hose that somebody dropped in the middle of the street. It's crashing into cars and killing little children. It's a terrible thing. It's no good. Like I said, burst firing a weapon with this rate of fire is always important in my opinion. Even once we put mods on this, I still recommend burst firing it to gain the most potential damage out of that high DPS. That's the thing with a high DPS weapon. That's great, you can sit there and talk all day about my DPS is higher than yours. Well, how many rounds can you actually put on target effectively in a combat situation or even in a test fire situation? That really decides just how effective the weapon is actually going to be. So let's go ahead and restock here. I'm going to throw the mods on this thing and talk a little bit about why I selected each of them to tame this beast. Now, the nice thing that I have to know is that I'm just taming it with superior mods. I'm very much looking forward to getting some even more high attribute bonus high-end mods to further tame this thing, and I feel like you could see even more potential damage out of it, so I'm really looking forward to that. Now, we're going to start with the magazine and work our way up to the optic. Magazine, nothing insanely special here. I do want to do something about that 30-round magazine capacity because it's a really high fire rate weapon. We're also going to throw in some critical hit chance, so we've got 6.5% critical hit, as well as 77.5% of the magazine size, kicking it up to 53 rounds. You cannot go wrong there. We're going to run an angle grip that is all about boosting stability. Base stability as well as horizontal stability. I said that was important, did I not, guys? We have to tame that horizontal stability. 39% of it tamed. And then we're going to go ahead and kick on over to a muzzle brake that is going to further tame it. 27% on top of 29% stability. Now, in theory, we should just steal this from the Caduceus to be nice, but really it's not that big of a percentage difference that it makes a noticeable difference when actually firing the weapon, which is why I've left that specific muzzle brake down there on my Caduceus. Now, you may think, okay, well, it looks like you've solved the problem. Stability is way up there now, range is still kind of low, and accuracy could definitely use a small boost as well. How is this thing handled? Let's fire it. Let's fire it before I put a mod on it and see just how much of it's been dealt with. Not bad, right? We've dealt with one of the bigger issues, which was the horizontal stability, making this thing instantly more friendly. It's way more user-friendly. The firemen have held onto the fire hose, it hasn't killed any small children, and they are slowly putting out the house fire. Things are going well. It's not bad at all, it really isn't. But that's not good enough for me. If I'm going to run this as a primary with, say, a shotgun or a submachine gun or even a sniper rifle, my secondary, I want this thing to be able to engage targets at an even greater range. And that, of course, is where the optic choice comes into play. This was the final piece of the puzzle. You will not believe how much time I spent messing with optics just to finally realize that the C79, which has been sitting in my inventory for probably the last day's worth of playtime since I hit 30, was the key. It was the final piece of the puzzle. We're actually going to increase our DPS with this. We're going to get 16% to accuracy, and we're going to boost our optimal range. Slap this thing on, and here we go. It's controllable even in long bursts. And what I've noticed in combat, and you guys saw at the beginning of the video, is that this thing is really great at short bursts. And because of that insanely high cap magazine, you're gonna be able to really clear up a lot of targets before you even have to reload. It's wonderful. And then, when you feel like doing a bit of wet work, going all FPS Doug on them, you simply click in the right stick and lay on the bullets. Look at that. It's so stable, it's insane, it's completely changed. It has gone from the light side to the dark side, or the dark side to the light side, depending on your opinion about how the Force should affect things and whatnot. So that's it, guys, that's the Liberator. That is how I tamed it, and that is why I gladly give the Liberator my unofficial reward as the ultimate bullet hose assault rifle in the Division. It is the go-to high rate of fire assault rifle. If you want something that's high rate of fire, and you feel that you have the modifications to tame it, you have no better choice than the Liberator. Give it a go. It is very much the sort of evil twin of the Caduceus because they are so different, but at the end of the day, depending on the user, they can both be equally effective. If you guys have any other questions for me regarding the Liberator, feel free to throw them down in the comments section below. I'll give you a hint as to the next weapon review I'm going to be doing. It is something a little bit more esoteric that I think a lot of people are overlooking. It is something called the Cassidy. I'm just going to spend a few more minutes pouring some bullets down on targets here. Once again, guys, anything else for me, throw it down in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next one.